Hello, welcome to this poultry showmanship tutorial. I'll be covering how to handle your bird, how to pose your bird, and how to examine your bird. When you first approach the table, you should already be handling your bird the way you should. And to handle your bird, you're going to take your middle and ring fingers and you're going to stick them between their legs, and then your index and pinky finger should be kind of helping to scissor their legs between them. And then you can use your thumb and pinky finger to kind of keep their wings calm. If you need to, you can use your other hand to rest on their back to make sure that they don't try to flap and get away. But if you are able to, you should try to just hold with one hand. When you approach the table, you should be about a step back from the table and wait for the judge to give you some command to pose your bird. In most cases, there will be a cage on or near the table that they will set up on the table. So just imagine that there's a cage here. When you place your bird in the cage, you are first going to pose them. The bird should enter head first, and you should have them face the judge. Just kind of set them up, and you're going to take your index finger and poke up on their beak to try and get them to stand as high as possible. Go ahead and give it take a few seconds to try and get them to stand up, but a lot of chickens are a little finicky and wanting to explore a little bit. So if your bird does not pose perfectly, that is okay. Just make sure you smile, make eye contact with the judge, and try your best. As long as they can see that you know how a bird poses, that should be fine. And as you can see, she is wanting to explore a little bit, so I'm not going to force her. When you take her out of the cage though, you're once again going to give her a proper hold, and she's going to exit head first. So whenever the bird enters or leaves a cage, she should always do so head first. It's also possible that the judge may ask you to pose your bird on the table without a cage, and once again, whenever you do so, just be about a step back from the table and just be ready to correct your bird if she tries to go exploring a little bit. For examining your bird, the first thing you're going to do is kind of take a general look. You're just going to kind of stand a little ways from her and just get the overall appearance of your bird. You're not looking for anything specific. Once again, you're trying to take in the breed, the variety, all of that stuff in regards to your bird. But the first step that is a bit more specific with her, you're going to check her eyes. For any body part that there's two of, so eyes, earlobes, legs, wings, you're always going to start with the side closer to the judge. This is just out of respect. And to check the eyes, you're just going to take your index finger and you're going to kind of hover her eyes over a little bit. Make sure you don't touch them. You don't want to hurt or damage their eyes. You just want to make sure that they can see. The next step is the comb. Not every breed has a comb. But whether your particular bird has a comb or not, you're still going to check where the comb should be. For breeds that have small or no combs, you're just going to use your index finger and kind of feel the comb or feel where their comb should be. For breeds that have larger combs, you can use your index finger and your thumb and kind of feel along it. After the comb, we go towards the wattles. Same idea as the comb. If they have small wattles or no wattles at all, just your index finger. For larger wattles, you can use your index finger and thumb. From the wattles, then we're going to check her head feathers. You're just going to take your finger and you're going to kind of part her feathers so you can look underneath them, look at her skin, look for any mites or other defects. Once we're done checking her head feathers, we're then going to go towards her beak. You're just going to take your index finger and kind of feel her beak a little bit, both the top and bottom of it. And from the beak, we then go towards the earlobes. And as always, start with the side closer to the judge. And you're just going to take your finger and kind of feel, make sure you look at them. From her ears, we're then going to start with her neck and work our way down towards the tail feather, checking each of the feather tracks. So once again, we begin with her neck, kind of prying the feathers so we can see underneath them, checking the skin, checking for any mites and other deformities. And once we check the neck feathers, we then go towards the back, doing the same thing. And then we go towards the tail feathers. Once again, same thing. When we're done with the tail feathers, we're then going to flip our bird over, and to do that, you just kind of flip them like that and have them kind of rest against your core. And the first step, once they're flipped over like this, is you're going to check the vent. So you're going to kind of, once again, part their feathers, examine the vent. Then the next step is only if you're working with a hen, a female chicken. If you're working with a hen, there's a couple bones that you're going to measure the width with to help determine the laying condition of the hen. So you're going to take your index finger and middle finger, and the two bones will kind of stick out towards you. You're just going to, the bones should be fairly easy to spot once you start feeling for them, but you're just going to measure the width of those two bones with your index and middle finger, much like that. Once we check those bones, if you're a hen or if you're a rooster, you'd be coming from the vent. You're then going to check the abdomen. So you're just going to take your fingers and you're going to kind of feel down there. Because the way you're holding it makes it very hard to see her abdomen. If you can, that would be great, but if not, feeling would be suffice. And make sure you take your time, make sure the judge knows what you're checking. But once you're done with the abdomen, you're then going to start checking her legs. And there are 4 steps that we're going to isolate, going back and forth on her legs, beginning with her thighs. So you're just going to take your fingers and just kind of feel along her thighs. You're going to do that for each leg. As always, start with the leg closest to the judge. Then we're going to feel the shank, and the shank is the lower leg, the part where most breeds typically do not have feathers. And once again, you're just going to feel along them. Then we're going to check her toes. So you're going to check each individual toe. Take your time with each toe. Make sure that you're really convincing the judge that you're looking at each one. Then we're going to check her feet. Same idea. You're just going to take your finger and thumb and kind of feel her feet, look at her feet and examine them. Once we're done with the feet, we're then going to examine the breasts. And as you guys can see, I needed to refine my grip. So I'm just going to flip her over. If your bird does that, make eye contact with the judge, smile. And every 3 or so steps, make sure you make eye contact with the judge and smile. Let them know that you know that they're there, acknowledge their presence. But the next step after we check the feet is to check the breast. And once again, you're just going to kind of feel there. It's going to be a little awkward just because of how you're holding the bird, but you're just going to feel the bird's breasts. Once there, you're then going to check the wings. To do that, you're going to just open up the wing, stretch the wing out like that, and you're going to blow down in there to part the feathers, and you're going to look underneath the feathers. So it's just like that. To check the other wing, you're going to switch hands like that and do the same process. Okay. Last step is to check the crop. It's best, they usually recommend not feeding your bird the night before and the morning of a show, because a lot of chickens will usually kind of store a little bit of food in the crop, and if you press too hard, it is possible that they will throw up. But same idea as a lot of her other body parts. You're just going to kind of take your fingers and feel right where her crop is. And the crop is going to be kind of where her chest goes towards her neck. Once you do that, you can flip your bird back over and make sure you're handling her correctly, and you are done with the examining of your bird. You don't need a poser at all. For the most part, whenever you are kind of waiting for the judge to give you the next command, you will be handling the bird just like this. From here, the judge will just ask you a couple questions, but other than that, that's all I have for you guys. I wish you guys all the luck at fair and in other shows that you'll be doing.